Hello everyone, welcome to vlog 14, the Reapproach. My username is Daddy Verdugo, also known as Geo. Just wanted a catchy name for the idea of this channel. I do have some updates, but we'll be going over some scripture, wellness, as well as a fun activity. Today's fun activity will be fighting. So jumping into the ideas each week. Muscle Mondays, going over fitness and strength. Tweaking Tuesdays, we'll be going over some projects and ideas. Whipping Wednesday, we'll be going over car ideas as well as hacks. Tummy Thursdays, we'll be going over food and diet. Family Friday, kids, wife, siblings. Scripture Saturdays, we'll be going over the Bible and wellness, as well as Spa Sundays, we'll be going over health and beauty. So jumping into it, 14 weeks in, 7 chapters a week, we're in Exodus and beginning Leviticus. So we're going over starting with chapter 35. There were 35 verses. There were 3 subheadings. Key verse 29, all brought it as a free will offering to the Lord. So back then, people gave unconditionally, as we should as well today, in glory of God. Moving on to chapter 36, 38 verses. There were no subheadings. Chapter 5, the people bring much more than enough. So God will provide through people. Moving on to chapter 37, there were 29 verses and 4 subheadings. There's quite a bit on that one. Key verse 24, he made it all out of a talent of pure gold. So God is above material value. I believe a talent was 75 pounds of gold, which is a lot of money. But again, God is the supreme being. He is invaluable. Moving on to chapter 38, there are 31 verses. There were 3 subheadings. Key verse 21, these are the records of the tabernacle. In other words, there's historical evidence of the topics discussed in scripture. In other words, there's validity and provides some imagination. There's some really fascinating visuals in that description. So moving on to chapter 39, there were 43 verses and 1 subheading, unless I missed them. 42 was the key verse. The Lord commanded Moses. So the people of Israel had done. In other words, the people of Israel served God as we should today. Moving on to chapter 40, there were 38 verses, 2 subheadings. Key verse 34, the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. Just astonishing. The idea of God's presence was just jaw-dropping when I read that. And now today, it was present back then, it's also present today. Moving on to Leviticus, because we finished Exodus, there were 17 verses and 1 subheading, laws for burnt offerings. Key verse 4, to make atonement for him, specifically sacrifice to restore the sin that we have committed. Fast forwarded to the New Testament, where Jesus was the ultimate offering. All right, 7 chapters down. The plan, again, as I briefly discussed on Saturdays, is to post a video, in other words, a vlog, where we'll go over scripture and do 7 more chapters to eventually get through the whole Bible. All right, moving on to wellness. It's been scattered. Even though I've been incorporating more planning, I'll go through the 8 different pieces as I usually do. Mental is overstimulated. I need to plan more sleep. There's a lot of things in the day that I like to do, and I have been sacrificing sleep a little bit too much. Physical is stable on the winter bulk. Again, I'll post some videos about little key tricks and things that I'm up to. Scripture is growing. Fellowship, church, and friends' wedding are in the horizon. Definitely enjoy being around fellow Christians and non-believers. I love having those conversations, really do. So feel free to comment down below if you are interested, have previous videos and plan on making more videos. Environmental is transforming. Colder weather, holiday decor is coming out. Exciting. Emotional is tired. Lots of positivity, but it's a little bit draining. Got to recharge. There's always some negativity, but again, recharge. Occupational is transitioning. So there was a big design phase. Now we're transitioning into testing and eventually commissioning. Financial is challenging. There's always some temptations to eat out and splurge on gifts, but gotta hold steady. may make a little bit more detailed videos about budget. I have some ideas around that. Now, social is vibrant. Family, friends, and coworkers have been very nice company. So going to the gym Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, now incorporated Tuesdays, foreshadowing the fighting part down below. I just rekindled the idea of boxing, which I grew up on late middle school, early high school. Again, I can make more videos on that. If you all are interested, let me know down below. All right, moving on to the fun activity. So this video's topic is fighting. Recap the idea of each of these vlogs. On Saturday will be scripture, wellness, and a fun activity. Today's fun activity is boxing. So with that, it's also, I guess, let me backtrack. Fighting in general, I have a large bias towards boxing, but we'll loop it into the umbrella of fighting as a Christian. So fighting is a violent sport, and there are some controversial verses out there that, you shouldn't fight, you shouldn't hurt other people. And I'll try to define my understanding of it, and I'm completely open to y'all's opinions on it. Which comes to convictions, I have 3 points here. The purpose. So what is the purpose of fighting? I try to break it down into 2 categories: self-defense versus wrath. So competitions are another can of worms, but specifically if someone is attacking you, it's important to know how to re-navigate them as well as yourself to keep both of you safe. And sometimes it can end in a drop of blood. Going on to the forms, so this is more of where my bias comes in. I'm very familiar with boxing and some MMA, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and wrestling. Definitely with that, MMA is where I have an interest. I'm not an expert in any way, but I do have a couple of years under my belt of training and a couple competitions, which I can get into in another video. But judo, karate, kung fu, and Muay Thai are very hot topics when we talk about different fighting styles. So the other part is resources. After I talked about the purpose and form, YouTube, the best resource. There's a lot of pay-per-view fights from the past on there, and for example, the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson or John Jones versus Stipe fight are already uploaded a day later, so save yourself $80 if you can. My recommendation. Anyways, for boxing, again, my bias here, Terrence Crawford, Floyd Mayweather, and Alexander Usyk are very, very talented boxers. There's a lot of talented boxers out there, but I would say those 3 have specific styles that can help guide anyone's interests from beginner to advanced, as they're all, these boxers themselves are undefeated for professional records and have lots of characteristics that are unique to the sport and that they brought to the sport. Now, MMA, which incorporates a lot more than just boxing as a fighting style, Khabib Nurmagomedov, I think I got that slightly right, Alex Pereira, and John Jones are highly recommended to watch. Lots of variety. Wrestling, jiu-jitsu, and I believe it was kickboxing are highlights from some of those fighters. So going on to kind of the main idea behind this, Friday, so 2 days ago, Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fought. Went as expected, in my opinion. The age gap definitely had a huge impact on Mike Tyson's abilities. There's some controversy of, it was a sellout, but I think the age gap, and honestly, Jake Paul could have gone a lot harder than he did, which we could see. So in other words, it was a little dull, it was a little bit depressing, but I think it was beneficial in terms of bringing more attention to boxing and just giving people something to talk about, I guess. Now, John Jones and Stipe, which happened yesterday, incredible fight, shocking, very technical and intriguing. There wasn't as much bloodshed, but it just showed how devastating kicks can be from, again, my little narrowed scope of boxing. So again, I highly encourage all of you to check out those names and feel free to comment down below anything I missed. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it. I plan on making a weekly vlog. I love you all. I hope you're all doing well. If you're interested, feel free to like, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and comment down below what you liked, what you didn't like, what you want to see more of, and whatever's on your mind. I'm curious to hear whatever you guys want to tell me. And again, I hope you're all doing well. See you next time.